Are non-fungible people DAZ's worst, most exploitative idea ever? So DAZ has jumped on the NFT bandwagon, offering a collection of 888 female and non-binary 3D characters for purchase. What exactly is an NFP? What formats do the figures come in? Why no man? Why can you only buy them with the volatile cryptocurrency Etherium? What precisely do you get for the money? What are the full licensing terms? What can you do with them and how? I'll be hoping to answer many of these over the next 15 minutes or so. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, and they are the latest way for tech bros to extract money from the gullible. In essence, you pay for a token that proves that you have exclusive ownership of a piece of art that anybody can copy without loss of quality. For example, a piece called The First 5,000 Days by Mike Winleman sold for $69 million to a crypto billionaire with more money than sense. In return for his money, he got to claim ownership of the piece, despite the fact that everyone else in the world could download and view it for free at exactly the same quality. Imagine how much less value the Mona Lisa would have if the original was available via cloning to anybody for free. Think of an NFT as a digital certificate of provenance. I think nobody better expresses the enormous stupidity of NFTs better than YouTuber Paul of Paul's Hardware.
Speaking of my favorite hobbies, allow me to engage in another one that I've become fond of recently, talking about how idiotic and horrible NFTs are. Non-fungible tokens, the bastard child of blockchain technology, can be boiled down to this. Things that exist digitally, as in represented by zeros and ones, can be reproduced infinitely. Someone recently thought to themselves, hey, if I can convince people that a digital copy thing has value, I can create infinite copies of it and then sell them for money, making myself infinite money. Then they co-opted blockchain technology to make unique ownership receipts for these things that they sell to smooth-brained morons who have been convinced that this is somehow the breakthrough technology of the future, rather than simply the latest form of grift on the internet. Big corporations, of course, who like making money, have jumped on the NFT train because they also see a potential way to make lots of money with minimal effort.
The idea, like the dot-com boom and cryptocurrency itself, has been jumped on by quick buck merchants, the majority of whom will undoubtedly lose money when the world regains its senses and realises the king has no clothes. Everyone from games companies, musicians and kids in their bedrooms have released NFT pieces that offer nothing but bragging rights for pieces that can largely be downloaded in their entirety for free. Into this arena boldly strides DAZ, desperate to stake out its own territory in this digital gold rush. But, and it's a massive but, DAZ figures come with genuine utility. What exactly is a non-fungible person or NFP? An NFP is a fully rigged and clothed 3D female model that you can use in any situation where you might require a digital character or avatar. I have yet to establish what formats these characters come in, nor how you would actually use them as virtual avatars. DAZ shows someone in Zoom substituted by a 3D model, so I can only assume that if they don't come in that native format, they are easy to convert. They also claim to be compatible with Blender, Unreal and Unity. Perhaps they are FBX or DAE files. Beyond that, I have no idea. Only after spending the money on them do you receive the kit that enables you to use them. Any company that does not explain precisely what you're buying before you buy it should be viewed with skepticism to my mind. Nevertheless, the fact that you receive posable, animatable figures is one way in which DAZ's idea has actual, practical utility compared to most NFTs. You can create 3D avatars in multiple programs for free, but DAZ's figures are superior to the few that I've seen. DAZ talks about using these avatars in Meta, the cringy rebranded Facebook virtual universe. Having seen some of the Meta universe, the low poly graphics are at least 15 years behind the current state of gaming, and even virtual reality games. I'm uncertain how high poly NFPs will work in an ultra low poly bandwidth constrained universe. DAZ has tried repeatedly to break into the supply of gaming assets. I don't know how successful they've been. I've never seen a poser figure in an FPS or RPG game of note, so I feel as if they have not effectuated widespread adoption by even the indie game community, much less larger devs. You can be certain they would be shouting from the rooftops if they had. NFPs are charged in Etherium, one of the more popular environmentally unfriendly cryptocurrencies, similar to Bitcoin. They're charged like that rather than in dollars because DAZ uses two third-party NFT vendors, OpenSea and Rarible, to curate and sell them. All sorts of alarm bells ring for me going through a third party, especially when you have to have an Ethereum account to do so.
And yes, sadly, we have to talk about NFTs when also talking about the metaverse, because the same silly-assed people are pushing both. The idea being that these collectible pictures will be the currency in this metaverse that I guess we'll buy virtual land with. But even if we wanted the fake land, why wouldn't we just use money? Like digital purchases, you know, the way we already do? This isn't an NFT video, but geez, I think I just defeated the cryptocurrency by pointing that out. Seems stupid is my point.
To make things worse, you also pay a transaction fee, measured in gas, to purchase using Ethereum. Think of it like a variable sales tax whose rate you don't know in advance. Currently it's around 20% of the total purchase price. The base rate, called the mint price for NFPs at the time of writing, is 0.2 Ethereum. That's £391 or $514 US, although they were $800 at launch before the crypto price crash. I say the base rate because purchasers can bid on them, and therein lies the claimed value of NFPs as supposed investment opportunities. I've had similar investment opportunities offered to me in emails from a Nigerian prince, and I view NFPs with similar skepticism. For your Ethereum, you gain exclusive rights to one of the vast library of NFPs that DAZ has churned out of their production line. Let's be honest, there's no way that 8,888 figures have been lovingly and meticulously crafted over the course of just a few months. Only 20% of the NFPs on Rarible actually have thumbnails showing what they look like, so if you buy there, you are purchasing them blind, paying on the hope that what you receive will not be hideous and unusable. In response to why thumbnails are absent, DAZ forum user Richard Hasseltine says, "That's a question you need to ask DAZ, though from what others have said it's a common practice. You are potentially buying an NFP but not a specific one, so it's likely that part of it is that previews wouldn't make sense." OpenSea NFPs all come with representative thumbnails. If it's too much trouble for DAZ to upload 8,888 thumbnails, how much less should you trust the quality of entire figures? Everything about this feels rushed simply to jump on the NFT meta bandwagon. DAZ is perfectly placed to get into the VR, avatar and NFT markets, but one thing Battlefield, Fallout 76, Pro Evolution Soccer and other game disasters have proven is that you can wipe millions off your company value with a single, premature, incomplete product that the market hates. DAZ has built up a reservoir of goodwill stretching back decades, but NFPs really threaten to undermine that. Once consumer trust has been eroded and the company is perceived as willing to rip them off, many purchasers will see them in the same way. I already see users responding to their announcement video, saying that they are cancelling their DAZ memberships over this. The motivation for DAZ is clear. They have offered $3,315,224 worth of NFPs. Even at just 10% commission, they make a vast amount of money, and I'm not sure how much of that money they actually get to keep in the first place. Oh, and if your spidey senses are not already tingling like crazy, NFT smart contracts can be written such that DAZ makes a share of the sale every time NFPs are resold. I can't confirm that this is what they are doing because they don't bother to answer emails, and I'm not engaging with Discord with its aimless, meandering stream of consciousness bollocks that makes Twitter threads look highbrow. Furthermore, if you then resell your NFT, the processor gets to charge you a commission as well. Really starting to look like a money printing machine for everyone else. The first tranche of NFPs were created to support a women's organisation, Women in Tech, hence the fact that there is literally not one single male among the 8,888 figures supposedly produced. It seems to me to be unbelievably short-sighted to ignore more than half of the population, especially when males comprise a larger part of the computer-using demographic. This absence is particularly notable given that non-binary people are also represented. Given that a non-binary has no look, it could be a genetic male or female, clothed in any way they want, this feels like a massive piece of virtue signalling. Meanwhile, the majority population is so far completely unrepresented. There's a saying, get woke, go broke, and it's a pattern that we have seen time after time as companies try to tout their woke credentials by pandering to a subset of society, usually one perceived as oppressed. It seems to me that neglecting or outright alienating more than half of your users is a recipe for creating resentment. It's not as if they had to invest all of their effort into a small handful of figures and had to prioritise. Nearly 8,000 figures sounds to me like a veritable shovelware tsunami, so maybe men will be the lucky ones who never got to waste their money. But remember this, NFTs are a giant Ponzi scheme based on the pretense that they will accrue in value over time. Yes, you can resell them, theoretically at a profit, but with 8,888 figures available, who the hell is going to want to buy the specific figure you bought for what you paid, let alone more? Especially when you can buy your own dev kit from DAZ for just $100 and create 1 million figures for your own non-commercial use. Something that sends my scam senses into overdrive is the fact that DAZ wants you to think of these like baseball cards, with manufactured scarcity used to create a few higher value NFPs, so-called ultra rares, of which there are only 16. In the baseball card market and the vintage game and coin market, prices were artificially inflated thanks to the valuers having relationships with auction houses and buying their own products to create the illusion of value. A cynic might wonder if that exact same thing has happened with these NFPs, with DAZ staffers buying them to create the illusion of value. Remember when the housing bubble was at its peak? There was a circle jerk of people selling property to each other at increasingly inflated prices until the entire thing collapsed, and people were left with huge bills for property worth a fraction of what they paid. NFTs are exactly the same thing, a bubble inflated by the gullible, too stupid to realise that they hold objects of little or no real value. Greg Barker at The Post says, the NFT, non-fungible token, market is vast, worth an estimated $45 to $50 billion. Its popularity has soared in recent years. It's also a bubble. The mania over NFTs bears all the hallmarks of a classic bubble. Colossal valuations, greater fool theory, and its first adopters bragging about substantial, unrealised profits. Fortunately, skepticism surrounding the NFT industry is building. CNN Business reports that the NFT bubble may be bursting already. Numerous experts predict that the majority of NFTs are already worthless or will be within 5 years, so they're a dreadful idea as an investment unless you can get in and out before the house of cards collapses. And all of that is to say nothing of the massive environmental impact of maintaining NFTs and Etherium on the blockchain, which has significantly raised power use and the production of greenhouse gases, to such a degree that China experienced power brownouts and Kazakhstan, where China's miners fled to, is now imposing a mining tax. Very woke of you, DAZ. DAZ has gone all in on this, with a 1-year roadmap, complete with Ethereum giveaways, usage and creation tutorials and more. The only thing is, as anyone familiar with the games industry will attest, roadmaps are not worth the digital paper they are written on. Following the trend of the scammy game industry, DAZ launched a merch store before they've even adequately explained what their product is. Something that does confuse me is the fact that the figure clothes can be changed. How large is the library of clothes? It has been suggested that you get the equivalent of a standard DAZ character bundle, usually a few outfits. Also, why do I have to join their Discord to find out details about their product? DAZ already runs a forum and has a dedicated NFP website. Surely they are the perfectly logical places to disseminate information and answer questions. As it is, the NFP website answers just 2 questions in its FAQ section, ignoring the dozens asked in their own forums. There are so many more questions. What is the extent of the license? If I sell my NFP, what about artwork I have created with it? And what's to stop me continuing to use it? DAZ proclaims that you have total ownership. Quote, you can do anything you like with your NFP NFT, with the exception of selling its individual components, end quote. Then that's not total ownership, is it? If I own a painting, I can sell the frame, I can sell the canvas, I can sell likenesses of the painting, I can scrape the paint off and sell it as paint dust if I so desire. Instead, NFP owners are constrained by DAZ's standard end-user license agreement, which I've linked in the underbar. DAZ sells a $100 NFP dev kit so that people can create and sell their own NFPs. This immediately devalues the ones they are offering as investments by further flooding the market, whilst also enabling people to end run past them using their own custom figures. And on the subject of Ethereum itself, there can be no more salutary comment than this one from DAZ forum member Rodwise Drigo, who says, "Some weeks ago I made a wallet to put some funds in it, just 0.0175 Ethereum. That was worth about €70 then, and now my wallet tells me it's worth €59. To which user 31415926654 responded, "The price of Ethereum will rise and fall. Long term it has risen, so if you hold on to it you may get back more than you put into it." Given that cryptocurrency is currently on a massive low and is going to fall still further as Russia bans it, Kazakhstan imposes crypto power taxes, and the rest of the world wakes up to the cost of crypto mining, I would not bank on the myth of infinite growth. To quote one investor who made 300% profit on a discounted NFP he purchased from DAZ, "What do I think about the project as a whole? Oof, I'll be glad to be out of it. Ethereum itself is an investment risk. It is being used to purchase more investment risks in the 2D art 3D avatar world. For me, I want out. I'm not made for this type of long-term investment stress." It's hilarious to note that this week, February the 4th, 2022, Facebook shares fell by 25%, $256 billion. That's the biggest single company loss in stock market history. Whether this is due to its implementation of Meta, which few people asked for, or due to boredom or distrust of the general platform, or due to other reasons such as a rise in popularity of rival platforms, is hard to tell. But one thing that is certain is that any company chasing scammy trends based on that platform just discovered that its potential is a whole lot less than they thought. Going back to the subject of Discord, here in the interests of full disclosure I must state I'm not au fait with the medium. However, when I joined it appears to my inexperienced eye that there are 4,002 members of the server. That's a lot of interest for something that looks to me to be so ill-considered from a consumer perspective, so I am totally willing to accept that I have totally missed the ball on this one. Maybe I am an out-of-touch boomer who hasn't recognised that DAZ has brilliantly leveraged their position as the planet's largest provider of high-quality human figures and clothes to get in on the ground floor of a trend that represents the entire future direction of online interaction. It's entirely possible that I'm missing the whole point and utility of these figures. I have yet to comprehend why these $800 NFPs are in the slightest bit more preferable than, say, a $50 DAZ figure clothed in your own selection from the DAZ store for maybe another $100, and then exported as a rigged figure in one of the numerous interchangeable model formats that already offers compatibility with other modelling formats. Why would I limit myself to DAZ's figure and clothing choices when I already have a library of tens of thousands of items to choose from? I realise that their NFP choices have probably been selected to avoid licensing issues, but if I'm buying for personal use, the only truly worthwhile justification, why would I limit my options when the library is already licensed for such functionality? Looking up NFPs on YouTube, most of the videos are enthusiastic, but they all seem to be made by NFT-loving tech bros, lauding their financial potential rather than their utility. None have yet talked about actual returns on mint price, just potential return. Repeating that Greg Barker quote, first adopters bragging about substantial unrealised profits. Investing in my YouTube channel offers a potential return of gazillions of dollars, but the actual return is likely to be a minus figure. Also, I can't help but be pissed off by the fact that these NFPs have been auctioned rather than sold at a fixed price. To me, that is the first sign of avarice and trend chasing. Lawyer Ian Corzine has this to say.
NFT sales prices fluctuate hard. If you spend any time in the NFT markets, you're going to see that oftentimes NFTs are issued for like 0.125 Ether or maybe $750, and no one buys them and no one bids on them, and quickly their value plummets. So what's really tough about NFTs is when you buy, let's say, an NFT, you spend $5,000 on an NFT thinking that in a short amount of time, it's going to be worth $100,000. And then it doesn't go to $100,000. In fact, it goes down in value and you're stuck with literally nothing. It's just computer code existing in your digital wallet somewhere.
Just at a time when Facebook is coming under ever more scrutiny and possible legislation, and with numerous failed attempts to mainstream virtual reality behind the industry, I will continue to side-eye NFPs until I see a reason to do otherwise.